Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Today I will discuss about verbal and non-verbal communication. This is lecture 4. So far I have uploaded 3 lectures on communication. You can go and check out. Those who are watching my video for the first time, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon and go to the Instagram handle and access the quiz link. The link to Instagram is given in the description box. So follow us on Instagram and access the link. Their quiz link is active so you can participate. So this division of communication is on the basis of channels that can be verbal or non-verbal, and verbal is subdivided into oral and written. So we will discuss about them one by one. The first one is verbal communication. Okay, so verbal communication simply means that there is use of words. Those words can be oral or written in any form. So all these examples are oral communication and all of them have words. So spoken words are used, face-to-face conversation, that is interpersonal speech, telephonic conversation, video, radio show, TV show, voice over the internet. So all these are part of oral communication, and because of use of words they are categorized under verbal communication. Okay, next we have what are the benefits of oral communication. It should be oral. So the first benefit is that it is spontaneous and natural. When we are talking to someone, when we are having oral communication with anyone, then that communication takes place in a spontaneous way, because we will reply spontaneously and naturally without any preparation. Okay, choice of words suit the listeners. Whoever is listener, they should be interested what we are speaking, what we are saying, what we are trying to convey to them. So we have to use the words which suit the listeners. For example, if listener understands Tamil, then you should talk in Tamil, in their language, so that they can take interest in your conversation thing and they will continue the conversation further. Next is, it is supported by non-verbal communication. Always remember that this non-verbal communication plays a major role in any communication, whether it is verbal or non-verbal, whether it is oral or written. This non-verbal communication constitutes the major part of the entire communication process. Can develop close relationship between the speaker and the listener. So because it is spontaneous and natural, this helps to develop a close relationship between the speaker and the listener. Okay, so but there are demerits also. The first demerit is, whatever words are spoken, they disappear into thin air. Many a time when we are having oral communication, so the whatever words we are using might have not be very effective on the listener. Non-verbal communication that support oral communication may not be understood by people from other culture. Okay, so when I will discuss about barriers, then I will talk about this cultural barriers. Many a time what happens, most of the culture, whatever a particular symbol means, that will translate into different meaning in different culture. So from culture to culture, this non-verbal communication varies for the same kind of gestures or body movement or same kind of words that are being used. So we have to be very careful when it comes about cultural difference. Okay, so this was all about oral communication. Next we have written communication. So written communication is simply, it is a written sign and symbols both in printed or handwritten form. Something we write, that constitute written communication. The communicator's writing skills, style, knowledge of grammar affect the quality of message. So whatever message you are writing or printing, so it will be affected by the communicator's writing skill, their style and their knowledge of grammar. So this writing style becomes very important. Message can be transmitted via email. So what are the source? In oral communication, it can be over telephone, it can be over radio or face to face. But in written communication, message can be transmitted via email, letter writing, report writing, memo, etc. So whatever medium is used to write and transmit it to the receiver, that will constitute the part of written communication channel or medium. So most commonly used communication is a business organization. So written communication is mostly used in business organization because it is highly formal and everything needs to be recorded on paper. That is why written communication is mostly used in business organization. Just remember this. Next we have the two divisions of written communication. The first one is internal written communication and the second one is external. So when it comes about internal, then it deals with something related to within organization, not outside the organization. So for example, there is any organization and it is divided into separate departments, separate buildings. So that will come under internal because those communications are taking place within organization, within same place or under same umbrella. It can be done with the help of form of memos, reports, bulletins, job descriptions, employee manuals, emails and so on. So the next one is external written communication. So by external we mean that something that is outside the organization, not inside. If it is inside, then it will come under internal. The moment it is outside the organization, it will come under external. So it can be done with the help of emails, internet, websites, letter writing, proposals, telegrams, faxes, postcards, contract, advertisements and so on. So there are lots of options to communicate in written form with any organization that is not part of your organization, that is out of your own organization. Okay, so this was about the divisions of written communication. Next we have what are the advantages of written communication. We have just seen the advantages of oral. Now we will see the advantages of written. So under this, message can be edited. It gives an option to edit your message if you're typing something and you are going to send it via email, so you can edit it again and again. You can revise it many times. So because of this, it reduces the chance of errors. Okay, so it minimizes the chances of errors. Next is it provides an automatic record for every message because it is written, so everything is recorded. Whether you send it via telegram, via email, via WhatsApp, you will have a record of your things, that what you have sent or what you have received as a reply. And other advantage is that it can help us to study it later, or it can help us for later reference. It enables the receiver to fully understand and send appropriate feedback. Because if I am a receiver and you send me some message via email, I will take time, I will reread again and again, and I will try to decode whatever you have sent me, and then I can give an appropriate feedback by taking my own time and replying it in a more planned way, in a more organized way. So it doesn't give an option of spontaneous feedback, unlike oral communication where there is the option of spontaneous feedback. It takes time, yes. Since it is a written form of communication, it takes time when it is transmitted from sender to receiver, and then when it is replied back by receiver to sender. So it takes time. Next we have non-verbal communication. So under non-verbal communication, communication through sending and receiving wordless messages, because it is non-verbal, so there is no word. It is about the body language of the speaker. Okay, it all deals about the body language of the speaker. That can be body gesture, eye contact, posture, tone of voice, facial expression. There is one thing called para language. So it is related to speech, that is tone of your voice, speech, everything. So it comes under para language. So just remember this, that para language is part of non-verbal communication and it deals mostly with the speeches, tone, pitch, intensity, everything of your words. Next we have what are the elements of non-verbal communication. So the first element is appearance, that it includes both the speaker and the surrounding. How? That is your clothing, hairstyle, neatness of the speaker. So it all related to speaker. Other is the room, lighting, decorations, furnishings. It relates to surroundings. So these things come under non-verbal communication because there is no use of words, but they do affect the communication process. The second one is body language. So under body language, there is facial expression, that how you express yourself through faces, smiley faces, serious faces, angry faces, gestures, postures. Third one is sound, and it relates to para language. Okay, so voice tone, volume, speech rate, everything. Next is mnemonics. It's all about learning and recalling of words, numbers, or facts. So mnemonics varies from person to person, form some coding about anything complex, and they can use that code to remember something complex whenever they need. So that is mnemonics. Next one is kinesics, and it is important. Kinesics is a major form of non-verbal communication, so it is part of non-verbal communication. It is a study of non-linguistic body movements, facial expression, and gestures. So it is basically the study of non-linguistic body movements. Okay, there is one thing called 73855 rule. It is basically percentage, 7%, 38%, and 55%. So the major portion, that is 55% constitute body language, 38% constitute tone of voice, and 7% constitute words. Just remember that what is the role of non-verbal. It has a huge role in the entire communication process because it constitutes 55% of the entire communication process. Okay, and there is, you have to remember 3 V's, that is verbal, vocal, and visual, that is related to communication. So guys, this was for today. I hope you really like this video. If you really like it, then please like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. And on Instagram, quiz link is there, so go and access it and participate in the quiz. Thank you.